Midnight, June 15, 2015. The blackout in Puri, India, was a deliberate citywide operation, executed alongside a paramilitary lockdown of the local streets. Under the cover of total darkness, a small group of priests entered the inner sanctum of the 900-year-old Jagannath temple. They were blindfolded and wore thick protective gloves to perform a precise task, transferring a vibrating object from an old wooden idol into a new one. They call this object the Brahma Padartha. Temple records identify it as the living heart of Lord Krishna and warn that anyone who attempts to view it will die instantly. The government and the temple authorities treat the object inside that idol with the specific protocols reserved for a lethal physical threat. This structure operates as a physical anomaly, exhibiting behavior that contradicts standard engineering expectations. In the temple kitchen, 500 cooks stack 7 clay pots vertically over a single fire. Thermodynamics suggests the bottom pot should cook first, yet here, the contents of the highest pot finish first, bypassing the heat source below. On the roof, the main flag flies in the exact opposite direction of the prevailing ocean wind, a consistent aerodynamic contradiction. At the very peak sits the Sudarshan chakra. From any vantage point in the city, the geometry creates an optical illusion that makes this massive metal disc appear perfectly spherical and front-facing. These observable physical impossibilities suggest that the lethal heart reported in the inner sanctum may be an empirical reality rather than mere lore. The origin of the Brahma Padartha is traced to the end of the Mahabharata. When Lord Krishna was cremated, his heart refused to burn, continuing to vibrate with intense energy. This unburnt core was recovered from a river and eventually sealed inside massive, unfinished wooden idols by King Indradyumna. Modern archaeological theories propose a technical explanation. The heart is actually an ancient, highly active radioactive device, or arc reactor. This radioactive framework accounts for the temple's extreme security. It explains why a priest touching it barehanded in 2015 reportedly suffered severe neurological damage, and why the idol physically decays and requires replacement every 12 years. Even the materials used to house the object serve a purpose. The statues are carved from neem wood, a natural insulator that would be effective at shielding a massive electromagnetic energy source. Framing the heart as an active energy source bridges the gap between ancient miracle and misunderstood technology. This power has historically defended itself against massive external threats, beginning with the 1558 invasion by the Mughal general Kalapahad. As the army reached the inner gates, a sudden blinding light and an unnatural storm erupted from the sanctum, forcing the Mughal forces into a disorganized retreat. In 1806, the British Empire attempted to seize control and shut down the massive Rath Yatra festival, dismissing the temple's traditions as barbaric. The response was a civilian uprising of millions. The sheer scale of the devotion made the city impossible to govern, forcing the British administration to completely withdraw from temple affairs. Across centuries, whether through atmospheric anomalies or intense human resistance, the temple has remained an unconquerable entity. While history shows the temple's resilience, the Bhavishya Malika, a 500-year-old text, frames its current behavior as an apocalyptic countdown. The text specifically predicted a global disease that would force entire populations to lock themselves indoors, a description that maps precisely to the modern pandemic experience. Another sign identified in the text was the temple's sacred flag catching fire. This highly improbable event occurred on March 19, 2020. The prophecy also warned of the Sudarshan chakra bending, an event fulfilled in May 2019, when Cyclone Fani warped the heavy metal disc at the summit. In 2020, vultures and eagles began perching on the temple dome, breaking a centuries-old observation of no birds ever flying over the structure. These verified triggers transform the Jagannath temple into an active ticking clock for humanity. These compounding anomalies signal the imminent conclusion of the Kali Yuga, our current age of spiritual and global darkness. The final prophecy describes the arrival of the Kalki avatar as the massive temple finally sinks into the ocean. We are left to interpret the Jagannath temple as one of 3 things: a collection of folklore, the evidence of a lost electromagnetic science, or the physical presence of a living god.